I asked and you guys responded. So in today's video, what we're going to talk about is how you can get started in the real estate game on the cheap. So I'm going to go through 3 separate options for you, starting from $1 all the way up to a couple $1,000, where you can get started investing into real estate at whatever level you feel most comfortable with. But before we get started, if you are new to the channel, I'm always talking about different investment tips, tricks, and strategies that will help you set yourself up for success in the long term. So if it's something that does interest you, you want to make sure that you are subscribed, and also turn on that bell notification, because I am dropping a YouTube short every single day, but also dropping a video at least once a week to give you the news with what's happening in the investment game, so you have one resource to go to get your information. So let's go ahead and get into it. The real estate game can be a tricky one. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of regulation, and there's a lot of understanding. And then of course there is, do I have the money and do I feel comfortable getting started into it? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to put you at ease a little bit today, give you some information to build that comfort level, and then also give you some options. So regardless if you have $1 or if you have a few $1,000s to invest, you now have different avenues that you can allocate that money to that will help you get started in your real estate investing journey, and do it in a way that really doesn't break the bank. The first strategy that we're going to talk about is crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding is exactly as it sounds. It's a large group of people pooling their money together to invest in real estate. And this could be residential real estate, or it could be commercial real estate. Now, this has really caught on major in the online platform in the past 5 to 10 years with 2 main websites. The first one being Fundrise, which allows you the ability to go residential or commercial, or you can look at CrowdStreet, which really prefers to do the more commercial type route itself. Now with crowdfunding, how it works is you can invest as little as $10 or as much as you would like to into this pool of money. And then what the back end, or what the website actually does, is they have a team of experts who finds the property, uses the pool of money to buy the property, and also they find tenants to fulfill that space itself. Once that space is fulfilled and rent is coming in on those properties, the profits of that rent is then allocated to the actual investors or the crowdfunders itself. So Fundrise claims a 22.5% rate of return for the average investor in 2021. So this could be a very good hands-off type approach for somebody who really doesn't understand too much about real estate, but still wants to invest and have that passive income coming in, and gives you the ability to have your investments tracked online in the portal of these websites. So all you really need to do is put the number that you feel comfortable investing into the actual website. The team of experts will find out your risk tolerance. If you want to go a safer risk tolerance or maybe a more risky investment, they will find the property based on what you're looking to do, and they will invest that money accordingly to get you the best possible rate of return that you can get. Next, we'll talk about REITs. REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. And so essentially what this is if you are an investor into the trust, you also are a stockholder. Now, the good part about REITs is they are required to pay 90% of the taxable income in that trust back to the shareholders in the form of dividends. So when you own a REIT, you actually are looking at 2 separate forms of income. You're looking at capital gains, so the growth of the stock longevity-wise, but also they're going to give you a portion of the income generated for the year in the form of a dividend. So it creates a passive income opportunity as well. And these dividends could be paid out quarterly, they could be paid semi-annually, or they could be paid annually. So you are getting a portion of what that trust is actually doing just for being a stockholder in that specific REIT. And the cool part about these REITs is you can really choose what you prefer to invest in for real estate. They have just regular single business real estate that you can invest into. They also have like public storage, for instance, storage facilities. You can invest into that, or you can look into shopping malls as well. So whatever you feel most comfortable with, you want to make sure that you do your own research. But REITs tend to be a very popular way to invest into real estate because you're going to get that long-term capital gains income, but you're also going to get dividend income as well. And just like crowdfunding, you can put as little or as much as you want into this. Now, ideally, you want to buy just one share or more than one share, so a whole share at a time. You don't really want to buy fractions of a share, but if you are tight on money and you're okay buying fractions of a share, that's possible as well. So this is another chance for you to be flexible, but also still be able to invest in real estate and get two forms of income. So definitely one to look into. At this point, you might be saying, Rick, it's awesome that you're teaching me about dividends and REITs and crowdfunding, and it sounds awesome and everything, but I want an actual property. I want a key that I can hold in my hand. I want something I can build equity in and potentially have a rental property down the road. But I just don't have the down payment to do so. I got you covered on this one as well. So for this one, you want to make sure that you get with your local real estate professional, as they will check to see if you qualify for this option. But this is a great option for first-time home buyers, as it gives you the ability to get a grant for a down payment on your first property. So rather than you coming out of pocket the typical 20% for your first home, this is an option where the government will actually give you a grant that will double as your down payment for your first property. So it's a great way for you to be able to save money up front and still be able to have the keys to a brand new home without having to spend 10, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 to get into that property. Now, there are some rules when it comes to this down payment assistance program that you want to be aware of, and this is why it's important that you get with your local real estate professional, as they will know the rules and regulations, as each state is a little bit different. But here's the basic premise of this. This money does need to be paid back. So if you, for example, refinance the home or you sell the home within the first 5 years, the government is expecting you to pay that money back. So if you are planning on just using this as a quick, hey, I'm going to own this property for 1 to 5 years and then go to sell it, it's not like you're not paying the government back. You do have to pay the government back for the down payment that they lent you in the first place. However, if this is something that you're looking to have this property for a long period of time, then this down payment gets paid back with the mortgage payment that you're making every single month. So over time, you will be repaying this down payment back to the government, but it's still a great way for you to not come out of pocket when it comes to putting down the initial down payment on your first property. Now, what can you expect? Because that's not to say that you're just going to get a property and not come out of pocket anything. There are still some costs that you're responsible for. So typically with this, you will have earnest money up front, meaning that you do have to have some skin in the game up front to get the process started to actually become the homeowner itself. So this earnest money could be anywhere from $3,000 or even a little bit more money, but that's still better than the 20%. Also, closing costs are something that you're responsible for as well. And this is really going to be dependent on your property that you choose, how much you're going to have to spend in closing costs. But again, typically, this is still going to be well under what you would typically be looking at when you factor in your down payment itself. So With this option, rather than your typical 20% that you would come out of pocket plus your closing costs plus your earnest money, which can be tens of thousands of dollars, you can get into your first real estate property itself for under $10,000 in some cases. So it gives you the ability to actually own a property without coming out of pocket a huge chunk of money. So a really good opportunity for you to get started with an actual tangible asset that you could then use to rent or sell down the road if that's what you choose to do. So on all three of these options, it's important that you do your own research. But each one of these has its pros and cons depending on your risk tolerance and depending on what you feel most comfortable in. If you're more of a stock type person, REITs are a really good option. If you're somebody who likes the idea of getting involved in commercial real estate, but you don't have a lot of money, maybe the crowdfunding option is the best. And of course, if you want to get a tangible property, you might look into the down payment assistance program as well. But make sure to do your own research because, again, everything I tell you on this channel is not financial advice. This is just more so information. But if this is information that you found helpful and useful and something that you'll use down the road and you could see value in, you want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications because I am always dropping new content to keep you up to date with how to put yourself ahead in the investing game itself. So I hope that this information did help you, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.